welcome back to Liam Doesn't Know Ball. I am back with my little Burnley pre-match preview, I guess you could call it. I have some notes, as always, and yeah, no real preamble. Let's just get into it. So, Villa, finally in a good run of form. We have won three in a row, three in a week, um, and we are undefeated in six. That is, you know, pretty good, pretty resilient. You know, I don't need to go over the individual results. I made post match reactions to all of them. Burnley, on the other hand, is in pretty bad form. They're currently 18th on 4 points. They just got pumped by City 5-1, but it's City. And they were winless in September. Now, Villa, you would have winning the game on momentum as well as on paper. But as we know, football's not played on paper. Or seasons would go a lot different and it would be a lot more boring, wouldn't it? Um, the big thing that just needs to be said, and I don't know how. It's very well known that Burnley play a low block and play it pretty darn effectively. Scott Parker usually has a good defense, and they play it pretty effectively. I mean, obviously they got pumped by City, but again, it's City. They played it very effectively against Liverpool, and it took a last minute handball penalty to beat them, or for Liverpool to win. Villa have not been good at breaking down a low block, and that's been going on for some time now. We just can't do it. I don't know what it is. So that'll be interesting, especially because Tielemans. I just took a look at PremierLeagueInjuries.com, and by all accounts, they're pretty. They have pretty updated information, and they're pretty reliable. Um, but Harvey Elliott, only played like what was it, 10 minutes last night against Feyenoord. I think he is going to play a lot of the game. I think he starts against Burnley, and I think he is a big key in if we're going to like break down that low block because in these like obviously I knew who Harvey Elliott was, but I wasn't as familiar with his player profile. Um, and an expert who was on Claret and Blue kind of talking about what kind of a player we were getting, like more than just like, oh, he plays for Liverpool, he's very young, blah, blah, blah. Things that people know, like someone who watches him week in, week out, knows his player profile, did say that is he is a good player to break down those low blocks, and that is something we need. So yeah, I think that he starts, and hopefully we can run riot at home, really go off into the international break on a high note. Um, what else did I say? Tielemans is going to be out until after the international break, which is unfortunate because he was our player of the season last season. He was players' player of the season too, and he's just a really technically gifted footballer. We're a better team when he's there. Really hope that he is back after the international break and he can help us win. Martinez is questionable, but with how Bizet played yesterday, I'm that's fine. I'm not too concerned. I did read a conspiracy theory that Martinez tends to conveniently have like a little knock and not play going into an international break, but then he plays for Argentina. But he's conveniently fit to play for Argentina. I hadn't really noticed that. I'll have to pay a little bit closer attention, but I noted this on Thursday in my post match that he tends to uh, go off at halftime a fair amount. He'll take like a little knock and then say he's not. So I don't know if it's like the same thing like that I'm thinking of where he'll go off at halftime right before an international break. I don't know. Yeah, so those are all my notes I have about Burnley. I think that they might try and grind out a scoreless draw, maybe a 1-all, but I hope it's not like that. I really hope that I'm not wasting my last day of freedom before I start my new job on a boring scoreless draw. Okay, and then because this is so short, I mean, this is less than 5 minutes as of now. We just hit 5 minutes. I also wanted to talk about the England squad because that just got announced today. So I'm happy for Ezri Konsa, Morgan Rogers, and Ollie Watkins that they got called up, but I only think that based on form, Ezri's the one who quote unquote deserves it. Um, Morgan Rogers has not been good this season. He's shown small glimpses, but not enough in any single performance. And even at the end of last season, he was starting to fall off. But he is still a talented player. And at striker, like, who do you have after Ollie Watkins? Like, I don't know the England depth chart well enough. Like at because I really only focus on Villa and like whoever we're playing. Do you call up Ivan Toney? Do you call up Eddie and Kedia? I just don't know what their form is like to really be like, oh yes, they. And I'm not saying that Ollie doesn't deserve a call up. He works really hard for the team, so I I think he's a good option to have. Now the big misses were Bellingham and Foden. I know Bellingham's just coming back from shoulder surgery, so it might have been like a hey, I'm not ready or something along those lines, but we're less than 9 months from the World Cup. So the squads we're seeing, barring a major injury or a real serious dip in form, these are going to be the squads we see for the World Cup next summer. And Foden, while he's never really done it for England, I still think England is a better squad with him in it. Again, I these are just my opinions. I don't really know what I'm talking about. Just some interesting notes, and I wanted to address it because the squad came out today, and those are some pretty notable misses. Those are my thoughts on Aston Villa versus Burnley before kickoff, and I'm gonna watch Wrexham versus Birmingham City. Kind of hope it ends in a draw. I'm kind of, Wrexham, it is a feel good story, but like, I don't want them to get promoted. And Birmingham City, I certainly don't want to get promoted. So those are my thoughts. I will probably be back. I'm going to do a couple of videos that I probably should have done about 2 months ago. And I will, of course, be back with post match thoughts. And then I start my new job. And I'm going to be working weird hours. So I hope I'm still able to make videos. But if not, how much is really lost by that? Well, my enjoyment. Thank you for watching, and up the villa.